Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live online event from Dime by OESD. This is another installment in our Start to Finish series where we focus on one technique. My name is Amy McCarthy, and I will be your educator for the next hour as we focus all about applique, a machine embroidery technique that everyone just enjoys doing. Now, we're going to get started pretty soon. But I want you to know that we thank our generous sponsor, EmbroideryDesigns.com, for bringing this program to you. They are truly the one-stop shop for everything embroidery and machine embroidery and sewing. But joining me also is my co-host, and that is April Jan. She is also a Dime by OESD educator, and she brings a lot of expertise in machine embroidery and quilting and just about everything in the hoop. So April, you bring a bunch of superpowers to the program today.
We all have different capes, don't we, Abe?
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, I'm going to be over in the chat, and it is already hopping and moving very, very quickly. So in order for me to find your questions, if you can just put a question mark before you ask the question, that'll just give me a visual indicator that, hey, stop. And answer your question, okay? Because it's moving so quickly, you might need to ask that question a few times, giving me time to make sure I'm responding and everything. But if I'm not mistaken, Ain, don't we have a live Q&A maybe half an hour in?
We do. I think we're going to stop about halfway in, kind of an appropriate place, a good stopping point. And we will maybe answer some of those questions live on the air.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I cannot wait to see what you have in store for us, as do all of our viewers from around the world. We've got Australia, we've got Canada, we've got Germany, or we're worldwide. And so everybody is just waiting to see how you are going to amaze them.
Holy cow, that's fabulous. Well, I also want to tell everyone, if you are viewing on YouTube, and I think if you can't see the shopping plaza underneath the video window, or if you can't see the chat, you're in the wrong place. So if you are on YouTube, go to the link that was sent to you. And I think one of the Dime team is going to actually put the link in that YouTube chat. So get out of that and come over to where it's happening, where April and I are. April, did I get that right?
You sure did.
Okay. All right.
All right. Let's get going. I can't wait to see what you have.
Let's get going. So let me get my slides up here. And yes, we are going to talk all about machine embroidered applique. And you know what? It's amazing. It's such a simple technique. You just stitch a piece of something onto another piece of something. But it's pretty much unmatched for the extent to which it can bring creativity and customization to just about anything. I mean, take a look at this green coat. That applique on that shoulder is fabulous. Can you imagine this green coat without it? Look at meh. It's plain, it's boring. So applique really brings that creativity. And applique fits anywhere, on garments, on wall hangings, on quilts, on holiday decor, on home deck. You can put applique just about anywhere. And applique is so versatile, and you've got thousands and thousands of choices as to what type of fabric or material you're going to do the applique with. And we're going to talk about fabric selection. I mean, for example, look how that plaid flannel really brings out in this t-shirt family, really brings out that rustic feeling, that woods, that cabin in the woods type of feeling because of the design and the fabric selection. Now, here's what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about the process of machine embroidered applique so everybody really understands what is all involved. We're going to see how we can create our own applique designs and add our own touches to it, and a lot of tips and techniques on how to get that clean, professional looking result with your applique. Now, this is a learn and shop event. And what that means is that you're going to watch me in the video window, and I'm going to show some slides. I've got some feature software demonstrations to show you, and then lots of how-tos and samples underneath the camera. And then right below, or right next to the video window, that's where April is. She's waiting for you. There's the chat pane. Make a comment on what you see, ask questions, and yes, don't forget to precede them with a whole bunch of question marks so that April can find them. And the shop part of this is that we have selected products and put them on sale. So we have selected products at special prices today. And you can rewatch this program and shop clear until Sunday night. That's one of the great things about having a Thursday event is that we leave that shopping plaza and that rewatch option open clear through the weekend. All right, look underneath the video window real quick, and this is what you'll see. Little thumbnails, little pictures of everything that we have selected to be on sale. And we have a lot of products, so you may have to do next page a couple of times. But click on that green view product bar, and you'll get more information about the product. And then that's how you will add it to your shopping cart. You may have to pick a color or size or something like that. That's where you would do that. You add it to your shopping cart. Then when you're ready to check out, you're going to click the checkout bar, and you're going to get to a window that looks kind of like this with the words show order summary. You want to make sure you click that because that will give you a summary of your shopping cart. Make sure you have everything in there. But the most critical thing are the words in this window. See the red circle? Discount code, gift card, discount code. It will say something like that. We've got lots of ways for you to save, and we have 2 discount codes for you to put in there to expand your savings. Here's the first one. If your pre-tax purchases get you $150 or more, then your discount code, I want you to type in needle. Everybody knows that. Everybody uses one all the time. So just that one simple word, needle. And that's going to get you free shipping on all of your physical purchases. But hang on, here's the second one. If your purchases get to $250 or more, then you want to type in the word needle, and that gets you free shipping. But the second code you want to type in is needle 10, all one word, just like that. And that's going to get you an additional 10% discount off of everything in your cart. So that $250 price break is where you want to head to, and that's your maximum savings. Okay. Here's another thing that extends your dollar, and that's something free. How about a free design? We've got this cute little applique design for an iced and sprinkled donut. Go all the way to the end of the product list. Take, next page, next page, next page. It's all the way at the end. All stitch formats are available. Add that to your cart at no charge, and then watch your email because that's how you're going to get the link to download this design. And you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Okay, let me start with just at the basics with applique. It's literally the attaching or applying one fabric to another. It's the French word for apply. Now, historically, it originated from a way to extend the life of clothes or linens or goods. If something wore out, you just stitched another piece of fabric on it. But it really evolved to a decorative function for garments or for banners or for ceremonial items for churches. And applique really adds dimension and texture and interest to any item. So let's see samples, and then I'm going to show you various types of applique. So let's go to the camera, and right off the bat, I'm going to show you the free design. So this is on an apron, and this is a great apron from OESD. This is one of the blanks. So I kitted out this apron in kind of a retro kitchen theme. So I've got Baker's Gotta Bake, and then on the pockets of the apron right here, I put an applique cupcake, and I put the free design right here. So in that kind of great lavender color set. So there's your free design, complete with sprinkles. And you know what? Sprinkles make everybody feel happy. So there's the free design. And I also took it and made it into a freestanding design, kind of like, play food. So make a whole plate of these and maybe put it as a table scatter for your next brunch or something. And it is stitched on that great OESD felt in that rich caramel color. So that's how you can have so much fun with applique. But let's see what else you could do. Now, this is the typical standard item where we do a lot of machine embroidery and a lot of applique. You know, just some great kitchen towels. And this is what I mean when I say that the choice of fabric and even the stitching really enable you to be twice as creative, 3 times as creative as with your machine embroidery, because you see that the selection of the fabrics and the decorative stitching on Mr. Rooster here really help impart the design and the artistic feel of it. And even little Miss Hen here, you know, the the selection of these browns really bring out the design and the artistry. And even in the pumpkin here, you know, again, a kitchen towel, we've got some supporting designs here, but the selection of fabric that reflects the roundness and the spherical nature of the pumpkin really makes a huge difference. And of course, here is a design that just is a door, but selection of fabrics, this batik watercolor stripe and the batik in the doors, and the addition of maybe some mylar and the little Scotty dog and some metallic thread. What are you looking at? You're looking at the doors to the Emerald City, of course. And so this is all applique. There's a couple of different types of applique, and we're going to just cover a little bit of them here, but we're going to focus on machine embroidered applique, which you can do in a layered fashion. This is layered applique. And if you'll notice on this butterfly, we've got 1, 2, 3 layers of fabric, but it's raw edge applique. It was finished with a bean stitch. And so you just cut the fabric and you don't do a finishing stitch. On something like this, which is from the Dime Stipple collections, this is all done in one hooping and you trim all at once after you're finished. So that really saves you some time. So this is raw edge applique that's done in a layered effect. You may have heard of reverse applique. And in this applique, instead of the feature fabric being on top of the item, it's actually on the back of the item. So that then when you stitch your design, like these letters here, you cut the top fabric away, and then you do this little reveal peekaboo, and the feature fabric comes through. It really adds a little bit of dimension, a little bit of texture, and you can do this in a raw edge or in a finishing stitch. And you can put applique on just about anything, with just about anything. Here, this is an applique, both the medallion that holds the monogram and also the feature stripe here on a marine vinyl notebook cover. And you can put applique on that. And if you thought that maybe you can't embroider on plaid towels or something with a pattern, consider applique. Now, these are great designs from Rain Wilcoxon of Embroidery Garden. We have these on special. They're called hand-sketched florals. And as you can see, this is a light, open, airy type of design that is perfect for kitchen towels because you don't have a lot of stitching on it. And it's finished in a raw edge fashion. So it's a quick stitch. And it also, you select your fabrics to coordinate or complement the palette that you have in your towels, and you've got a great gift. And in fact, these hand sketch florals also are great. Change the fabric, same design collection, but change the fabric to reflect your holidays, your Christmas on maybe a gold charger. And this is a great idea. Easy stitch. And then we've got lots and lots of reasons to love applique. I'm going to show you 2 right now. First of all, let me show you the little onesie first. So when you're doing baby clothes, it's perfect for an applique because you won't have the heavy stitches on the back for the potential to irritate little skin. And you also have, it's a quick stitch out, And because there's not a lot of stitches, it's going to remain flexible and great for kids' clothes. And of course, you've got all of those choices of these great colors. Now, here's another reason we love machine embroidered applique. Now, look at this vintage stitch out, this vintage sewing machine. It's stitched out, and this is complex fill, this is complex fill. All of this are stitches. These are all stitches. Stitches out beautifully, but it's something, you know, a little north of 24,000 stitches. It's a 17 color changes and over 40 minutes in stitch time, even at high speeds. And it's, you know, there's a lot of thread in there. It is going to be robust and it is going to stand out. Now, the very same design, what if we did it in applique? So again, they look identical, right? But this is fabric, this is fabric, this is fabric. And so now you've got 8,000 some odd stitches. You've got color changes, but most of them are your placement, tack down, and finishing stitch. And look at the difference in the stitch time, 15 minutes. Quick stitch, and it still retains the flexibility. And what I love is that you get to look in your stash for fabric pieces that really impart what you're trying to in your design. You know, like that looks like the wood base for a vintage sewing machine. So cool, right? So let's go to back to the presentation, and let's talk a little bit about the process of applique. Because in machine embroidered applique, it's a very specific process and it has very specific steps. And that's where we want to understand those steps so that we make the most of our applique and make it as gorgeous as possible. So I'm going to use this little apple as an example. So a lot of times in an applique design, it depends on what your design is. You'll probably have some background stitches, you know, like maybe like for this example, the apple stem and a leaf. Okay, then you're going to do a placement stitch line. And this is a simple run stitch that tells you where you are going to place your applique fabric. Okay, you're going to place it so that it covers your placement line. And then the next stitch segment is going to be a tack down stitch, which then secures that applique fabric to your item. It can be a run stitch, it can be a zigzag stitch, and we'll talk about the difference in the program. But then you are going to trim the excess applique fabric that you don't need. Then there will be a finishing stitch. And for the most of the time, it is what we call a steel stitch, which is a zigzag stitch of a consistent width. And that gives you that beautiful finishing stitch on that applique. Now, take a look at this video. I want you to watch this video. We're going to see the entire process from start to finish. And we're going to stitch a little bit of a sewing machine. And it's a cute little design. And we've got several applique fabrics. So the first thing, when we hoop our stabilizer, we are going to stitch our placement stitch. And then we are going to bring in our first applique fabric. It covers that placement stitch. There's the tack down. And many times it goes around twice. Then we are going to take the hoop off the machine, but not unhoop. And then we are going to trim the excess fabric away. And this is where some great Karen K. Buckley scissors come into play, or any good trimming scissors. And notice that as she goes around the corners, she is turning the hoop and not her hand. This is why you can't trim on the hoop on the machine. You want that nice trimming. Then back on the machine, and it stitches the finishing stitch, which is that steel stitch all the way around. Now we're going to put some decorations on there. So we've got some, you know, little doodads that are going to represent the knob. So we've got a placement stitch. There's the tack down stitch for each one of those. And then once again, off the machine, and then trimming. Watch her turn that hoop. And that's how you get good trimming. Okay, then back on the machine, and now we've got a finishing stitch for those little elements there. So cute. And we're going to stitch maybe some other decorative elements that are not applique, that they are just embroidery stitches. And now we've got this adorable little applique sewing machine. So now you see the entire process from start to finish. One thing that I want to bring up right now, because you just saw that video, trimming your applique pieces is very important. You take the hoop off the machine. You do not trim when it is still attached to the machine. And you trim on a flat surface, a table. And sorry, folks, our lap is not a flat surface. You really want to have that good trimming because that affects your results. It can make or break your applique. You want to use a duckbill scissors. A lot of people do. Just know that that duckbill is going to go between your applique piece and the host fabric. I see a lot of people having that upside down, but no, that duckbill goes between the host fabric and your applique piece. And of course, turn the hoop, not your hand. And this is where some really good scissors come into play, and we have them on special. We've got a couple of Kai scissors collections, and we've got a good duckbill scissors. So take a look at those. They're going to be on sale. All right, now let's select the applique design, right? And we are going to focus on our feature software, which is Patch and Applique Maker. This software enables you to design and create your own custom applique and patches, but we're going to focus on applique quickly and easily. There are more than 4,300 built-in designs so that you can start stitching right off the bat. But you can customize them with charm mini designs, with text, with just about anything that you want. And why wouldn't you? So let's go to the software right off the bat and let's see what we can do there. All right, here's the software. And as many of you, if you are familiar with Dime software, then this platform looks familiar to you. But if you are not, it's so user-friendly because you see icons across the top. You see icons down the side. That's how you execute the features and the functions. And I don't have to memorize what the icons do because when I hover my mouse over them, a little pop-up window tells me what that icon is for. And if I press F2 on my keyboard, then a little video will actually pop up to show me how that icon works and what it looks like. If you would like educational opportunities, then I would say once you get the software, you're going to go to the lower right hand as you see where my cursor is, and I'm going to click on that green shopping cart. And you're going to see then that here is Patch and Applique Maker. It is default right now on my screen. That's why it's blue. But that little orange check means that it's installed and activated. And then right next to that are three little dots called an ellipsis. And when I click that, I can go to the manual in one click. Watch it pop up right in front of my very eyes. It comes up as a PDF. And it's just going to render in here for a second. Well, it went right to the table of contents. So there is Patch and Applique Maker. And again, it has a table of contents so that you can look through and search all 137 pages of this manual and find what you need. But also in that ellipsis is the word tutorial. Now, if you click that, it'll take you right to our YouTube channel, to the entire library of educational videos on Patch and Applique Maker and all of Dime software, right? So there are a number of educational videos. We've got software success tutorials the first and third Tuesday, and we also have a Facebook group where you can post your question. We also have the opportunity for you to purchase lessons, private one-on-one lessons on the Inspired by Dime website. So we got lots of educational opportunities for you. But let me jump into Patch and Applique Maker. I'm going to go to the second row of icons because these four icons are the heart of the software. So let's look at the first one. And this is the design library. Now, since it's Patch and Applique Maker, there are both patches and appliques, but we're going to focus on the appliques. But look at all of these categories. That's where these designs are classified. So we've got back to school, we've got food and baking, we've got mascots, ribbons, sewing, sewing merit badges, cute animals. And while I land on this one, you'll notice that it has a plus in front of it, and I've expanded it because it has parts and patch. Well, the cute animals, these are appliques. How do I know? Because it's got APP in the file name. There are parts that you can use to customize. And then there's also similar designs made up as a patch. But we're going to focus on the appliques. So, I mean, they are ready to stitch out. So why don't we do, well, I'll show you some of the other icons. This one, the charm design. So if you want to decorate your applique, if you want to add some embellishments, then these are charm designs. And we call them charm because they are small. They are digitized to be less than about 2 inches square. So they're just little bitty embroidery designs. Then we've got the applique shapes. Now here we go. This is an extensive library of outlines, of just artwork outlines, so that if you want an applique shape of a particular thing, like a butterfly or a bunny face or dinosaur footprint, or even maybe a beet or a cookie or an ice cream cone, this is where you would go. So there are tons of shapes in here, sports, games, hobbies. If you're going to do an applique for the chess club at the high school, there are some chess pieces. So they will come in as an applique. And let's do one. Let's do just something really simple, okay? I'm going to go to the applique designs, and I'm going to go to the birds and owls, because there's an adorable little owl here that I can use to show you a lot of this software. So I'm going to put him on my work page, and there he comes in. Now he is ready to stitch out, right? Ready to go. But since we can customize him, why not? Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I can change the size. You know, he's coming in at about 5.5 inches high. I can make him bigger if I want. Maybe I want him to be about, maybe still fits in my 5x7 hoop, but maybe just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make his height 6.5 inches. And then just like that, it's all done. All the stitches are recalculated. I can even change his color. Now, if you'll notice, he comes in with this blue in his wings and blue in his body. That is an opportunity for you to audition the fabric that you might change, that you might have. But I'll show you that in just a second, right? So I can change any of the colors. So if I want his feet right there, doesn't have black feet, maybe he's got orange feet. I can just change his colors by right-clicking on any of these tabs, okay? Let's change that blue. So I'm going to find that blue, and I've got a feature where I can look in our extensive library of fabric images. Let's say in Moda, I love Moda, and now I've gone through these, and let's say that there's this collection called Awesome, which I love putting in my little owl because it's kind of cool looking. So I just pick one. I picked a fabric image, and so there's the body of it. But let's say it also did the wings. So let me find the wings and change those. So that wing and this wing, and I can change those to a different fabric. So you can get a fabric image. You can get I'm going to make his wings orange. Look at that. So just like that. So you can kind of see how your fabric is going to work. You can also manipulate this finishing stitch. So see, it defaults to a satin stitch, which we know is a steel stitch. But let's say that on this one, you want to, I'm going to change the color to maybe just a little bit of a better looking color there. And you can change that from a satin to any of the stitches that appear in the drop-down menu. So a tackle twill, what's that look like? Oh, that's okay. You can change it to an E-stitch, which is a blanket stitch. And you can even, I'm going to zoom in right here on his ear. You can even change the aspects of that blanket stitch so that it lands right on the fabric by changing the inset to 100%. Did you see how that moved in? And you can change the length, make it wider. You can make it skinnier. You can make it wider, and you can change these however you would like. Okay. You can even, let me go to the wings. You can get kind of fancy. So let's say I'm going to change that to a motif. And now I can do the drop down list with any of those types of stitches that I might want around that owl's wings. So something like that. Or there's candle wicking all the way at the bottom, and that's kind of cool. So you can change those to just about anything that you want. All right. But I'm going to do the traditional steel stitch on this because I want to show you a lot of times when we're doing those appliques, I'm going to hide the wings to show you. Just going to hide them right there. So see the satin stitch that is under the wings? We want to make sure that that satin stitch, that steel stitch, does not get stitched under those wings because we're going to have a big bump on there. Well, when you save this to your stitch file format, I will show you those steel stitches go away. The placement and the tack down are still there, as you can see there, but the steel stitch will go away. And that happens in your steel stitch, in your applique stitch, or in your stitch file. Yes, I'm going to find my words. I'm already on to the next topic. The other thing that is pretty cool is that you can do so many different types of finishings. For example, I'm just going to put a circle, okay, on the work page, and I'm going to turn it to an applique. But then when I go to change it to a special symbol, I mean, look at these cool selections. So if I'm going to select the diamond, which is right here, watch what it does to that circle. Yeah, how cool is that? All right, or maybe a jagged inside. This one is also cool. So it's not only does your applique, but it really gives a decorative function. So watch this one. So, I mean, Santa Claus's pom-pom, perfect for it. Or even this one, which has just got this obscure Stitch 39. Look at what this does. Isn't that cool? So, I mean, you can have so many customizations of this, so many. So I kind of whet your appetite on that software. Here's how you get it. You're going to get it with the Pro Bundle, which includes the software. There are 5 embroidery software success tutorials. These are written PDFs that you can use to kind of learn the software, just one little bit at a time. And you get a free 30-minute lesson with a Dime Educator. Now, this event price is right at just at $330, but hang on, that gets that $250 price break. So you take 10% off of that. That's a very nice price for this software. So make sure that you are able to get that in your cart. And let me check. I think we're at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to see what more I've got to do. And yeah, you know what, April, if you're ready, let me just bring you in because I want to see if you're containing them. You're controlling that rowdy bunch there over in the chat.
No, there's no containing this rowdy group over here. Okay, so a few questions about software. Okay. One, is this Mac compatible?
Yes, it is. And you know, all of you Mac users out there rejoice because the first week of June, Dime released a true Mac version for all of our software. That means no parallels, no boot camp. When you download it, you don't need a translator. It is going to operate as if it was a native Mac file. So yes, it is Mac compatible.
Okay, the next question is we have a lot of people a lot of our lovelies are new to the Dime software, Dime by OESD software, and they're wondering about education. Now, you had started talking about that before you came to me, but can you go over what kind of education and what kind of support they're going to get with this software purchase?
Yes, absolutely. I know I was rattling off quite a few of them, but in the software itself, you've got a manual And then you've got a link to YouTube tutorial videos. Okay. And we've got something for whatever style of learning suits you best. We also have when you purchase the software, you're going to get a free one-on-one personal, live lesson with one of the Dime educators. So that will help you on one-on-one. We also have, if you're on social media with a Facebook, we have a Facebook group called Dime Inspiration Software Users. Post your question, put a picture. We are always there ready to answer. And then on the first and third Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. Central, our lead educator, Ashley Jones, does an hour-long software tutorial on just about every topic that you could imagine with software. April, what did I forget?
Yeah, nothing. So, I mean, we've got all the bases covered. So what you're saying to our new people who are potentially wanting to dip their toe into software is that we're there to hold your hand through every step of the process. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. We want you to learn and enjoy the software. We are providing you educational opportunities that are at no charge and in lots of different formats, because we know that people learn differently.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see what else you have for us. And now I got to get to scrolling.
Okay.
Next question.
I got a bunch, so I hope I get through it all. But let's go see what are we going to do next. We are going to select and prep the applique fabric, and this is one of my favorites. We got to make sure that we prep it because we want good results. And here's the issue: a lot of times that applique fabric can bubble, or it can wrinkle, or it can pucker up, or a lot of times the raw edges might fray, and you don't want them to. Here's the solution. Choose a fusible web and adhere it to the wrong side of the applique fabric, and you're going to fuse that before you do the finishing stitch, and you will get a nice smooth result. So let's go to camera and let's see a whole bunch of stuff that I have in there. Okay, so got that. I'm going to talk about that. We talked about that. Okay, let me show you my little owl that we did. Okay, so I chose a batik fabric because I love the way it looks. I even put some little charm design owls in there. And we've got a couple of different motifs that I chose for this owl. And this is all in the Patch and Applique Maker software. And just as I was showing you, there's so many different ways that you can create these unique effects. This is all one applique circle. But look at all those special symbols that you can do to create those incredible effects. That's a beautiful sun, all created in Patch and Applique Maker. Now, this is where, we were talking about how great it is for kids' clothes. So I'm going to show you these little rompers that I put a little frog applique, because it gives me the opportunity to show you kind of some of the steps that you might go through, or the thinkings that you might want to go through when you are choosing your applique fabric. So let me do it on here. So what I did is that I got that frog applique and I just cut out, this is just paper that I cut out on my ScanNCut. There's my test mark right there. And so that's the shape of the frog. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to kind of audition some fabric so that I really get a good picture of it. So here's the first one, great color. But how does it look? It's way too directional. It's too directional. It was great on those Emerald City doors, but not on the frog. Okay, how about this one? That's kind of nice. I like the colors. I like the movement of the fabric, but the scale of it is too big. And you've got to really be aware of that. Scale is an important factor in your fabric selection. So on that one. This one, better scale, it's a little tighter. However, it's not the right style. It's more graphic. It's more cubic in its style. So on that one. All right, what do we got next? Nice color, a little bit great scale. I think it's the right scale, but it's not the right style. This is way too botanical. This is way too filigree and flourishy for that. All right. like the texture. It's the right scale, but not the right color. It's pretty drab, you know, for a kid's romper, a little boy's romper, pretty drab. And so then when I got to this one, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay. It's the right scale. It's the right style for the frog and the right color. And so it hit on all cylinders. So don't be afraid to kind of do something like that if you're doing a little applique. All right. And here you see on some of these appliques, this is where scale really makes a difference. On these small retro kitchen appliques, you got to have something that is in scale with the design. Great polka dots, but you don't want great big polka dots. You don't want a great big plaid. So, and again, on these teacups, which we are using for the icon for the program, you've got to have it in scale and matching to each other. Now, here's a way that you want to think about prepping your fabric, and that is with your fusible web. Now, we've got a couple of options for you. The first one is Fuse Me Fusible Web. Now, this is such a very light fusible web. You can see how it is just so light. It comes with a protective paper, and you fuse it to the back of your applique fabric, and then it makes a permanent bond. So I'm just going to show you. So here's a microprint fabric, and this is organic. This is the way it was born. And then on this one, I have fused the Fuse Me. And see, it adds no bulk. It does not gum up your needle, but it yet makes a permanent bond to your applique fabric, and so that you won't get puckers or bubbles. And if you would like, here's another option, and that is from OESD, and that is Applique Fuse and Fix. Now, Fuse Me comes on a roll. Applique Fuse and Fix comes in sheets. What's the difference? This is also a fusible web, but this one, you peel off the protective paper, and there's your web, and this one is sticky, okay, so that you can stick it to your project, and you can reposition it. So you've got your choice, Applique Fuse and Fix or Fuse Me Fusible Web. Right? Let me do one more thing. Yes, now we're going to talk a little bit about hooping. And of course, hooping is important, but you got to be versatile in terms of what you're going to hoop and what issues it may cause. Now, we got our trusty, dusty snap hoop monster, which is our magnetic hoop. The top frame has all the strong magnets, and we can hoop bulky things like terry cloth towels, sweatshirts, baby onesies. So this is a great weapon, but I'm going to show you my secret weapon, and that is the sticky hoop. Now, this hoop you use by loading adhesive stabilizer on the back, whether it be stick and tear away or a sticky water soluble. So you put it right on the back of the hoop, and now you've got this complete surface to place your item. It's great for applique because you notice it doesn't have a top frame, so that you can get your scissors in and trim close to that applique. And I'll show you by showing you on these. Look at these. These are capris that I put these great rose appliques at the bottom of the capri. So I am ready to do the other side, and I'm going to use the sticky hoop. So here's one great tool for your applique to make sure that it gets in the right place, and that is printing your design on print and stick target paper. This is a specialty paper that is transparent, and you run it through your laser or your inkjet printer so that you can print your design complete with crosshairs. You trim off the excess, and then you're going to place it exactly where that design wants to go. Now, once you've got that, then I can place that, and I can get my PAL light, which is over here, and it's a little crooked, but you could see that now I will line that up with the zeros on my sticky hoop. And now I'm going to line that PAL right up with that crosshair on the design. And I know that this, I don't have to go fiddling around, moving the design, and I can press that down. And as I trim the leaves and the rows and everything, I don't have to go up and over the hoop. So this is the sticky hoop, and this is my secret weapon for applique. Let me check the time. Let's go. Let's go back to. We'll get my Caprice out of the way. Let's go back to the presentation because we've got to. Oh, we did our break. Okay, so that was going to be my cue for the break, but we did that. Okay, say hi, April. Thank you, April. We talked a little bit about hooping options. I showed you the Snap Hoop Monster, which is our two-piece magnetic hoop. Got really strong magnets. And so think about it. You can do baby onesies, t-shirts, sweatshirts, terry cloth, velour, any type of heavy or bulky fabric, and continuous hooping. Say if you're going to do applique all around the hem or the border of any garment or any home deck item, you don't want to smash what you just stitched in a standard hoop. So the Snap Hoop Monster is great. And you know what? Sometimes those screw clamps on the standard hoops are just too much. And these are truly a lifesaver. And so is the sticky hoop. This is that one-piece metal hoop. You're just going to put sticky stabilizer on the back, hold your embroidery projects without using that top frame. And it's perfect when you trim your applique. All right. One thing that I wanted to show you, and I think it's somewhere that I can't put my hands on, were the applique fonts. And this is a great opportunity for a font. Do it in applique. You can do it for jumbo letters. You can do it for monograms. You can do lots of fabric selection, which adds to the design creativity. There's text tools in Patch and Applique Maker to custom shape them for your garments or your home deck. And an applique is really great for terry cloth towels or any type of a napped or textured fabrics. I mean, think about it. We're always worried about those loops sticking through the stitches. Well, if you've got applique on it, those loops are going to be under the fabric and contained. So they'll always look good. So with applique text, applique lettering, you can scale them and manipulate the size so that they fit the spaces or the garment features. So on that beach towel, I made that flamingo big and those letters big. And look on that sweatshirt. You can curve those letters and space them so that they can be stitched on that zippered front, right? We're also going to talk about pre-cut pieces. And I'm going to show you these under the camera. Pre-cut pieces for your applique bring in a number of advantages. First of all, there's less waste of your precious applique fabric. You get that clean professional edge to hold that finishing stitch. And you also avoid that taking the hoop on and off the machine a couple of different times and possibly dislodging your project and getting it out of register. It's also a time saver because you can just put those pre-cut applique pieces right on your work and continue stitching. So let me go to the software and let's talk a little bit about getting the pre-cuts. So first of all, let me show you a couple of applique fonts. All right. So I'm going to engage the text tool right there. And when I show you the fonts, in Patch and Applique Maker, there are 19 different fonts and 10 of them are applique. So let's take a look at this one. And let me put that on the board. And let's put my initials on there. And so it's A, I got the A and the M and an E. So let's do that. All right. And then when I click apply, it already takes that shape. And these come in and it's 4 inches high. Let's say that I want to put this on a pillow or a big beach towel or something. All I have to do is then I'm going to make those letters, how about 6 inches high? Okay. And when I click apply, there they are. They're huge. Maybe I can make them 8 inches high. And they are big. And so it's an 8-inch, if you see way up top, it's 8 inches high and it's 8 1/4 wide. But the satin stitches right here are just fine because they are of the normal size and they are of the tolerance that can be stitched out. It's just the design is bigger. Now, if you can imagine, if you can put any kind of fabric in there, so you can audition your fabric all the time. So let's say that we go to our fabric and, ooh, maybe there's some cool batik in there like that. Just put that in there. It's like, wonderful. All right. There's also this design. Now, this is the fiction applique, and I can then put it in the text envelope and then watch. I can manipulate the shape of those letters so that they are curved, just like you saw for that sweatshirt. And I can even space it apart. You know, if there was a seam or something like that that was running down, the zipper, you're going to stitch both, but I can shape that so that it exactly matches. And then let me put this one back, okay? And I'm going to show you that once you have that on there, you can audition another type of applique font like that one and just change it to that. Now this one, don't you think this one is a little yellow submarine, a little 60s? So that needs to be having a tie-dye fabric on there, right? Okay, we discussed pre-cuts and how important they are. Let me show you how easy it is to get a pre-cut in Patch and Applique Maker. So I'm going to go to the cute animals right here, and I'm going to get this kitten, okay? So there's that kitten. I know for the applique, his head and his little white muzzle here and his body and his tail are all applique pieces. I really don't want to trim that tail or any of those feet. So if I ungroup it, then I go and select those stitch segments. There's his head, there's his body, there's his muzzle. Then I go to the cutter function, which is just one click on the icon. Then it shows me on my mat that I'm going to take to a scan and cut. You can take it to your Cricut, your Silhouette, any digital cutter. Those are the 4 pieces. So there's his tail, there's his body, it's upside down, there's his head, and then see right here where the 4 is, that's his muzzle, but you can't see it because it's white on white. And then I would save this as an FCM file, and I'm going to show you both. You've got the SVG option and the FCM option so that I can send it to a cutter. I can also save this as a PDF if I wanted to print it on, let's say, a print and stick target paper. And I'm going to show you why you might want to do that next time we go under the camera. All right. So let's see what we've got here. And I'm going to show you one video, and this will show you how you might be able to get a pre-cut and how you prep your applique fabric. So let's show this video. We're going to prep the applique fabric first. And we've got a couple pieces there, and we've got the the fusible web. And so we've got to cut to fit that little piece of our applique fabric. We are going to fuse it to the back of the fabric on a non-stick pressing sheet. And so then you see why we have to have it as a non-stick. And we're going to do the same for the green one. All right, so there it is. We're going to stick that on a non-stick pressing sheet. And now we can either use this right directly and trim in the hoop, or we can do a pre-cut by printing that shape that we want. In this case, it's a little house, but in your case, it might be that pink kitty. We printed it on print and stick target paper, and we've released it, and we see it's sticky, repositionable, reusable. And we're going to place that right on our piece of green fabric with a little piece that will help us when we trim it. We're going to trim right along those outlines. And then when we go to pull that template paper off, that little shard of paper is going to help us find the opening so that we don't absolutely maul our piece. And so now we've got that piece and it's ready to be fused, ready to use in our project. And we can reuse that applique piece. So let me go quickly. It's like, what can I use for the applique? Well, here's a couple of options. You can use non-frame materials if you're going to do a raw edge applique, like cork. You can use vinyl, you can use felt, wool, batik. You can even use HTV. You can finish these with a blanket stitch, a bean stitch, or even a run stitch because they're not going to fray. So let me go to the camera here and we will take a final look at, I found this is, I forgot to show you this, but look at the difference in those applique fonts. So this is the one that I just showed you how to do. Cute little coaster for Christmas, even the fabric selections and a little charm design to go over that. But then that very same font now is blown up this size and it works just fine. So we saw how great and easy it was to do pre-cut applique pieces for little kitty. And again, you would print it on print and stick target paper and you would just put this on your fabric and you would then cut those out. So you can imagine how easy that is to be. Here's my pieces and I'm just going to place it right on the fabric and then cut it out with scissors, you know, paper doll style. Let me show you a couple of other options. Cool things that you can use for applique on something like this. Now look at this great garden flag that is from OESD. So on this side, we used a fabric that again is great for fall, but the same design, we used glitter HTV. So it really imparts kind of a different look. And there's tons of different HTVs available. And we've got these on sale. So look at those great ice skates that really look like leather. So this is HTV. This is Aurora HTV. You've got more glitter HTV. Look how great that is when it's in an applique. We can really do something decorative. And even our Sparkle Luxe vinyl in both the base of the snow globe and then the clear vinyl for these snow globe designs. Now, what do you stitch it on? We've got some great options here. Look at, we've got, and they're all appropriately named where it says start here. Great tea towels, beautiful color, a pillow blank. Now, what is that? This is really unique because take a look at this. So this is one out of the package, beautiful color. And as you can see, I'm spreading it out here like that. It already has a zipper in it. So what you do is that you embroider on one side, you embroider on the other side, and then you put them right sides together. You got the opening right here to turn it, and then you're going to put a pillow form in there. So you can imagine on something like that, great color, put a jack-o'-lantern on this side, and then put a regular pumpkin or some design on this side. Put this out September 1st, October 1st, and leave it until December 1st. Great holiday item. You've also got those great aprons, but let me show you in the very last, a great tool that you will need for great applique. And let me push some of these out of the way. You know, a lot of times you might want to do an applique and you've got a high contrast between your applique fabric and then your host fabric. You know, so on this navy blue, I wanted to do some pastel ice cream. Well, look at how that bleeds through. In fact, you can see the second scoop right underneath that top scoop. To prevent that, what you want is Top Cover by OESD. These are opaque, very thin vinyl sheets that you put underneath your applique so that now you've got the true color. So let me get this. Let me turn that. Is that better? Yeah. Look at the difference between the two of them. I'm trying to get that glare off of there. Oh, that's better. So that you can see that's a true color. You can even see the pattern on this, and you really can't do it on that. So that is top cover and you want a pack of that, comes in a lot of different colors. So I also just want to draw your attention to the fact that we have a lot of vinyl for you to choose from. We have a lot of thread options for you to choose from. And at the very last, I'm going to bring April in, and she can help guide people through the shopping cart too. There was a lot I didn't get to, but take a look at the cart, you guys. We've got thread, we've got vinyl, we've got a lot of the blanks in there from OESD. They're gorgeous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the shopping cart is robust. If you are looking to get yourself started for Christmas and have your tea towels, your blanks, having this specialty pricing and those stackable discounts, this is the way to go ahead and have all those items ready when you're ready to start stitching.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So it's kind of, a great timing because we are going into September. September is when lots of people start stitching for Christmas, and we've got the savings for them.
We sure do. Well, Ain, I want to tell you thank you for allowing me to be your cohort today. The two gals in capes on your screen.
That's right. Yes.
I appreciate it, and I can't wait to do this again.
I know. April, thanks so much for taking care of everybody there in the chat. I also want to thank EmbroideryDesigns.com for sponsoring this program and enabling us to bring it to you live. So on behalf of everyone at Dime by OESD, I'm Ain McCarthy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.